Good evening. I'm Andrew Hazlett. I'm a blogger and a podcaster at thenewmodern.net. You can look me up at Twitter or at andrewhazlett.com. I used to work in book publishing and at the National Endowment for the Humanities. Tonight I'm going to talk about the fate of culture with a capital C in our disrupted, networked age. This is Matthew Arnold, the eminent Victorian poet, critic, and educator. He had magnificent mutton chops and a glorious dream to enlighten and liberate the masses through the study of culture. That is, the best that has been thought and said in the world. Arnold outlined a vision for education that would share the sweetness and light that flows from the deep study of art and science, literature and history, truth, beauty, theories of justice and liberty, the whole package. Such things were once the province of aristocrats, with the time and wealth to assemble glorious personal museums, like this Cabinet of Wonders or Wunderkammer, seen in this sumptuous Baroque painting from the Walters. Look closely at the art, the books, the science, the specimens from abroad, amazing stuff. Partly thanks to Matthew Arnold, powerful information technologies developed to bring such culture to the people. Public schools and great universities, publishers of books, magazines, and newspapers, public lectures, libraries, even museums. Cabinets of Wonders for all, an inspiring dream, but the dream's collapsing. Economic catastrophe has accelerated a long simmering revolution in information technology. Just like the business world, all the middlemen of culture hierarchy are being disrupted. Universities are de-emphasizing the liberal arts and humanities. Libraries are under siege, and museums are getting squeezed. Traditional publishing is in terminal crisis, and the whole edifice of print-based culture is crumbling before us. So how will we remember our cultural and historical legacy in this new world? Are we going to see more test results like these? If you think the Germans were our allies in World War II, I'm not sure where you're even going to start Googling that or looking that up in Wikipedia. It's ridiculous. Well, the creation and consumption of culture is breaking into a million little pieces, torrents of bits cascading around us on mobile screens, in tiny text fragments, and seconds-long video clips and websites skimmed in an F pattern. So is this our new cultural environment? Oversexted teens, billions of dollars and hours poured into fake farms, overwhelming digital distractions, a tsunami of absurdity and violent, gibbering idiocy? Well, no, of course not. These problems are hysterically exaggerated, but I do worry about quiet losses, of an ability to read long, reasoned arguments, of appreciation for subtle, complicated works of art containing great wisdom, of a slower, more organic way of learning and thinking, of our sense of history. The thing is, though, the internet is history's most powerful engine for the satisfaction of human desires, whatever they may be. Maybe it can also reflect the better angels of our nature, even our desire to know the best which has been thought and said in the world. The old ways were hardly perfect, snobbery, inertia, even racism and cruelty. As communication becomes ever more transparent, instant, and frictionless, we will see a renewed focus on the individual, on authenticity and intimacy, on the bigger questions of truth and beauty. Back to the Wunderkammer. Here's the Walters example one. You've got to see it upstairs. Smart people noticed years ago that weblogs are a lot like a cabinet of curiosity and wonder. They are also places to store and share interesting things. A lot of what I do on Twitter and Facebook is sharing links. At the Library of Congress website, you can see an example of this. A few minutes surfing uncovered this snarky clip from the opening day of a new museum in Baltimore in 1909. So my experience of this place just grew a little bit richer from encountering that fragment. This is Shorby.com, a photo blog that finds, restores, and displays amazing photographs of the past. It's named after this kid, Shorby Higginbotham, a tough little coal miner from Alabama. Look into his eyes and you'll feel a little closer to the not-so-distant past. And does anyone recognize this street scene? We're looking north on Light Street, a couple of years after the Great Baltimore Fire. That's now the Inner Harbor. Look closely at the details. Shorby is a great example of the power of the network digitized present to bring history into intimate view. Sharing things is easier now than ever before. Here's the Enlightenment visualized. This is 150 years of correspondence among a comparative handful of people. Using this social network, if you will, figures like Thomas Jefferson, John Locke, Voltaire, and others brought the West out of darkness and into an age of reason, science, and liberty. This is one part of our internet architecture. Why not use this awe-inspiring tool to learn and share a bit more about Matthew Arnold's best that is thought and known? To do that, we need to take a little time to rise above the streams and bits and push notifications. Exercise and stretch your attention span. Read whole books. Balance the digital crowd with a measure of solitude, contemplation, and seeking out of encounters with real people and actual things, like in a museum. Cultivate your organic thought in your own mental garden. Each of us is now empowered to build our own personal, DIY, peer-to-peer, socially networked Wondercomer. To join those threads of data from lines of arguments and ancient texts, rediscover and share what was wise about our old ways of knowing, and go fearlessly into the future. Thank you.